Hi guys, this is Deborah from Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, and I've come in fresh from feeding the animals. I've still got to feed the ponies, but I fed everyone else, to give you a sort of a short review of some fiber that I was sent, some yarn that I was sent. I was approached by Paradise Fibers through my Instagram account, and they asked me if I would be interested in reviewing some of their yarn. And I was kind of stunned, actually, because they said they had seen my podcast and they had seen my Instagram account, and they said, can we send you X dollar amount of fiber for an honest and unbiased review? And I'm like, sure, yeah, I'd be glad to. I mean, I'm just a farm gal here in Arkansas, but I'll tell you what I think. So the first thing that I did was review their website. And I also Googled the company to kind of find out any back information and looked at reviews. And the reviews averaged between, depending on what source you looked at, between a 3.8 out of 5 and a 4.6 out of 5. And there were a couple of individual reviews, obviously, that were 5 out of 5, which I think is pretty good for a retail chain. Most retailers, you're always going to have people that get a bee in their bonnet about stuff. And being a college professor, I know how those evaluations work. So, I kind of look at several different sources. I don't just look at one and evaluate or base my opinion upon that source. It's kind of like watching the news. I watch them all and kind of average them together. But anyway, a little bit about the company. They are a distributor company for yarns. They are family owned, and they seem to fill a really needed, to me, niche between the big box stores and acrylic yarns, and then your very nice high-end sort of boutique yarns that are indie dyed or are the more expensive or more luxurious yarns. Sometimes I want to knit something for someone and I don't want to use, apparently there's something going down out here on the Pea Ridge, but anyway, so there's a niche that needs to be filled there, because sometimes you want to knit something that's a little bit nicer for someone, but maybe you don't know that indie dyed yarn is the best way to go, because maybe they're not quite trustworthy to take care of it. So, like I want to knit my first sweater, and I'm a big girl. It's going to take a lot of yarn to cover me up with a sweater. So trying to purchase indie dyed yarn would be prohibitively expensive, especially if I'm scared that I'm not going to finish the sweater. So I think that this company tends to, maybe through their distributorship, fill that void. They do have some higher end yarns. They have Malabrigo and they have Hedgehog Fibers listed on their website. And they had some other ones too that I can't call to mind. So there are some higher end yarns on there as well. They also have a very nice selection of tools. Now I bought these tools myself. They're having a really good sale. So I picked up a new ergonomic crochet hook in a size E, because a lot of the little critters that I want to make use a size E hook and my hands get really tired. So I picked up one of those, and then you can never have too many circular needles. So I want to cast on a shawl, and I needed a size 5 circular needle. So I purchased that myself, and they have a lot of brand name, needles and hooks and things like that, and tools. And they seem to have a decent selection, and their prices are very competitive. I like to spend money locally whenever possible, but sometimes, maybe you need something in kind of a hurry and your local store is out. The package did get shipped priority mail. It was, I believe, sent out on Tuesday from Spokane, Washington, and it arrived in Arkansas today, which is Thursday, which I thought was really good turnaround time. So that's kind of where we're at. So I'm going to cut this here and bring in a little bit closer so you can see the yarn and not my I've been working outside face. Now, their yarn, I do like how the yarn is packaged. It's all packaged together, so it's kind of almost shrink wrapped, which I think is a good way to send yarn. I'm going to open this up and talk a little bit about what they sent. And I picked out these specific yarns, and I will kind of go into why I picked them out. And yeah, every farm gal needs a good pocket knife. So, all right, so I'll cut this open here. Okay, so the first thing that I looked at was this Lamb's Pride. I tried to pick yarns from a variety of, so I picked a bulky yarn and a sock weight yarn and a worsted weight yarn and then kind of a specialty yarn. So the first thing that I picked out was this Lamb's Pride bulky. Now, I only asked, I said, could you send me this color or this color or this color? But they were kind enough to send all three of the colors that I requested. This is a 85% wool, 15% mohair. So there's no acrylic content to this wool. And it's 125 yards in a 4-ounce skein or 113 gram skein. So 113 grams, 125 yards, which is a bulky yarn. And this is spun and dyed by the Brown Sheep Company in Mitchell, Nebraska. So it's an American, at least an American spun and dyed product. I don't know that the the wool is from the U.S. Okay, and they give you instructions on there. They give you care instructions, which I think is good. In fact, I would probably copy that and give it to whoever I gave this to. But this is a bulky yarn. So the color looks nice. You know, I don't know how well you can see that, but the color looks true to what was on their website, which is good because I always worry about ordering yarn and it looking like I want it to look. So this would be, to me, sort of a workhorse yarn. It was reasonably priced. I believe these skeins were less than $8 if I remember right. So, I mean, you could easily make a gift for a hat that would be, you know, a sort of a step up from using your acrylic yarns if you had someone that you could trust to take care of this. I don't believe this is superwash wool because it does recommend using hand washing. So, okay. So that was the first. Now I am going to knit something out of this fairly quickly so I can come back and on my regular podcast I'll give a review of how I felt like it worked up. But just on first inspection, you know, it looks, and it kind of looks a little bit more rustic. There's a little bit of a halo to it. I don't know if you can see that. And just as I look at the fiber looks more rustic in the way that it's spun, and it feels woolly. It doesn't particularly smell sheepy, but it feels woolly to me. So this would make a nice sort of next step up, maybe gifting yarn, or if you needed a large quantity, like if you were going to knit your first sweater. To me, if you were going to knit your first sweater and you didn't want to, you know, if you were concerned about spending the money on beautiful indie dyed yarn because you either thought maybe you wouldn't finish it or it was just going to be out of your price point, this might be an alternative. Okay, so anyway, so that is the Lamb's Pride bulky. I think there's other, I'm sure there are other weights of that, but that's the first fiber that I received. Then the next one that I got was, this is I believe this is a worsted weight or a sport weight. I think it's either worsted or DK. I can't remember, and I don't have my glasses to read that. So, anyway, this is from Juniper Moon Farms, Moonshine, and it's a super fine alpaca, silk, and wool. So you can see it's got a little bit of the sheen from the silk there. It's got the halo that you can see there from the alpaca. It's very soft and squishy. It's 40% alpaca, 40% wool, and 20% silk. Okay, and this is made in Peru. All right, so I'm assuming it's Peruvian fibers. Okay, again, I think this is a DK weight. It feels, you know, I wouldn't have any problem wearing this next to my skin. It smells a little more like sheepy, but it's beautiful color. Okay, I don't remember what this color is called. I think it's just a color number. But anyway, so this is a Juniper Moon Farms fiber. Oh, cotton candy is what this is called. This is called cotton candy. Okay. So, and I'm going to actually have something in mind that I'm going to make out of this fairly quickly. Now, the last thing that I ordered was, one of the last things that I ordered is some sock yarn. Okay, so like I said, I wanted to try to get different weights of yarn. This is 100% merino. It's Wayfarer. Okay, and this is made in America. So it's American wool, American dyed, American spun, and all of that. And I really wanted to check this out because it's the Wayfarer line. Okay. And this color is called Hot Springs, which we live in Arkansas, and there's Hot Springs, Arkansas, one of the first national parks. It's about 2 hours from me. But I wanted to support American farmers if I could. You know, I mean, I like to support small businesses, okay? And, you know, as a farmer, I like to support farmers, American farmers, because, you know, it's well, all farmers, really, any farmer. But anyway, so that's why I selected this one. You know, the color looks fairly consistent. It is very woolly feeling. It is 100% merino, so I don't know. I might knit, if I were going to knit socks with this, I might do heels and toes with some nylon content yarn. I don't know, because I'm not experienced enough to know. But there is 382 yards, so I guess that would be a little bit of a plumper fingering. 382 yards in 99 grams. So 382 yards and 99 grams. Oh, and I failed to mention on this one, on the Juniper Moon, it is a mystery. Oh, here it is. It is 197 yards or 180 meters in 100 grams. Okay, so that's the Wayfarer merino, 100% merino, and this is all American sourced fiber. Okay, and then the last thing that I asked to look at, and they actually sent 2 skeins when I asked for one, but so I thought that was generous of them. This is, I don't remember the name of the yarn, but I think it has its own section. This is the yarn that's made out of recycled saris. Okay, so this is silk. It's silk yarn made from recycled saris. And I like the recycling element of that. Of course, it's going to be pretty wild, you know, looking. And I'm sure every skein is going to have uniqueness to it. Okay. So there's no sort of informational tag on here, and I failed to look up the details, but the thickness of it is kind of comparable to the fingering weight. So you could hold, you know, like it with a fingering weight yarn, because it doesn't have a lot of give to it since it is silk. But I liked the recycling aspect, and I had seen several podcasters talking about this yarn. So every skein's going to be unique, but I love the idea that instead of just throwing away something, that they're reusing it. Hey guys, I wanted to record a short clip about my impressions of using their website. I noticed the other one was kind of laid out funny, so that's why this one is now outside, because I've come outside to feed my ponies. But anyway, my impression of using their website, it was overall fairly positive, or very positive. It was easy to navigate on my phone, especially because a lot of times when you look at commercial websites, they're not laid out for using on your telephone. Because maybe the fonts are very small, or the pictures won't expand, or whatever. I didn't really have any issues like that navigating their website. Their price point seemed fair, as I already mentioned. Their price point seemed very competitive and fair compared to what you could find online at other places. You know, obviously I like to buy local whenever I can, but sometimes you can't find exactly what you need from your local vendors, and maybe you need something in a hurry, or maybe you live somewhere where you just don't have access to those kinds of things. So overall, I felt like I was treated well by their customer service experience. I was kept informed along really every step of the way via email, and you know, even when it was delivered and so forth, which I really like, because living out in the country, sometimes packages don't get delivered, or you get a sub on your mail route sometimes, and they might put a package in a place where it's kind of like hunting Easter eggs to find your packages. But anyway, so I appreciated that aspect of it, and so forth. So that's sort of my view of the e-commerce portion of the program. Their shipping I felt was fair. It wasn't overly expensive. A lot of times when you purchase things online, the shipping adds almost another 50% to the price in some cases. So I felt like their shipping prices were fair, and even upgrading to the next faster shipping was not ridiculously expensive, although I just chose their standard shipping and still got it in a couple of days. So anyway, so yeah, that's my sort of my impression of it from the e-commerce side. Now I'm going to cut back to where I was inside videoing for the last bit. Okay guys, sorry this was kind of so broken up because I didn't realize when I put it through my editor, it was going to cut me half out of the frame. Some final thoughts. I felt like I said, their prices were competitive. You got good value for money, especially with their sale that they had going on while I was looking at the website. They do have some higher end yarn. If that's your thing, you can go on there and find some too. I found their customer service, from my experience with it, to be very positive. Shipping was reasonably priced and pretty quick. And they have a good selection of things. They have a good variety of yarn, different weights and different content. Like I said, I'm not going to speak to the spinning and weaving stuff because I just have no knowledge of those subjects, but I would imagine probably that they're comparable in those areas. In fact, I think that's where they got their start. From what I remember reading about them, they got their start in spinning. Okay, so some final little details here. Since they were generous enough to send me all 3 of the colors that I had requested, I am going to do a giveaway for a make-along. I'm going to have a charity make-along. I'm going to start a Ravelry group for my podcast, Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, and I'm going to start off with a make-along for charity. It has to be a charity item that you're making, and I'm going to pretty much take any craft, so sewing, quilting, crocheting, knitting, whatever. But I'm going to donate probably 2 of the 3 of these for prizes for that make-along, and I may also donate a skein of this. So since they were generous enough to send extra to me, I'm just going to pay it forward in that way. So go check me out on Ravelry. I am on Instagram and Ravelry as Doc Firewoman, and I am on Facebook as Buckthorn Farms. I'll put all that information in the down bar. I wish that you subscribe to my channel if you found this useful. And I appreciate the opportunity that Paradise Fibers gave me. You can find them online at paradisefibers.com, or they're also on Instagram as Paradise Fibers, and I'm sure they're on Facebook too. So go check them out, and yeah. So thanks again. Y'all have a great one. Bye.